Hey everyone, it's Megan, Stitching Moon, and I'm back after like 2.5 weeks to update you guys on my cross stitching. Yeah, welcome to those of you who are new, and hi to those of you who have been watching me for a while. So today I want to do my WIP update, and I had some stitchy kindness and a little bit of plans. And then also at the end, I want to do something a little different, hopefully interesting. I don't have any videos this time of Norway. And for those of you who don't know, I'm from the US but living in Norway. So, yeah. I know also maybe the last video I mentioned I got a new Norwegian job, my first Norwegian job, and yeah, it's been pretty smooth transition so far because I haven't had that many shifts. The way it works in this job is that starting May 1st is when they like do your schedule for the year. So until then, I'm just kind of getting random shifts here and there. So it hasn't been a ton at all. So well, you would think I'd have more time to stitch, and I had time, but I wasn't feeling great for a while. So I'm just getting over this like virus or something. So I haven't really felt up for stitching as much. And it could be like some of the projects I was working on because they were pretty complicated and I was just like not that into it. So I feel like I kind of lost my stitchy bug, which has not happened. So I didn't like that at all. But I think it's coming back as I'm starting to feel better. So, and I also, if you know, have been following my channel, I have this rotation that I'm doing where I want to focus on more things. So I've been stitching on one project like consistently for 3 days, and then another full coverage focus for 3 days, and then a random project for 3 days, and then finishing one advent animal. And I've been following that from the beginning of the year, but I was like, maybe it's like restricting me too much, but I'm also terrible at making decisions. And because I have so many WIPs, like I just need structure. And actually following the structure is part of the fun for me. So I'll see how that goes. I might change it up, I might not. Yeah. So anyway, we'll get into what I've been working on. I just have 4 WIPs to show you. So first one is my main focus that I want to try and finish this year. And it's this kit from Design Works, Queen of Silk. Oh, I still have it in the hoop. Let me just take it out of that. Okay, so it has a little bit of a hoop mark. I'm actually going to work on it today, so I just left it in the hoop. So here's where I'm at. And yeah, I'll hold it back. It's very big. And it's on 14 count Aida that came in the kit. And it looks like it looks like a lot more stitching in person than it does on the camera for some reason. But I've been working down at the bottom in her dress, down here. And I'm working in columns, like 10 by 10 squares, columns, I don't know, down. So now I'm working my way over. So I'm doing like this column, this column, this column, and then once I get to like this edge, then I'll work back up at the top and do the 10 by 10 column down again. And there's also sparklies in here, which is hard to see on camera. It doesn't even sparkle on camera, but it's very sparkly in real life. And I ran out of that very quickly. There's going to be a lot more of that, but I contacted the company Design Works to let them know I ran out, and I have like not even done half of it. So they said they would send me more. It was over a month, so I contacted them again and they said they would send it again. But I also was getting really low on several of the pink colors because there's so many in the tree, and then there's a lot in her dress as well that I still have quite a bit to do. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna run out of those. So I asked if they could send me those, and they're like, well, if it's taking too long, or since it's taking too long, you can just buy the DMC, which I guess I didn't realize this used DMC. It doesn't say on the package that I saw, and usually they like advertise that, but it has whatever the number is. Apparently that's the DMC color, so that's handy. But DMC is really expensive where I am. It's like $2.50 per skein. So if I bought all the colors I needed, it would be like half the price I paid for the kit. So I'm like, well, can you try sending them again? So they are. And hopefully I get those. It's no rush because I have so much to stitch. There's also going to be beads in here. My first time beading. So that is Queen of Silk. Okay. The next is my full coverage focus for now. And this is the one that I was just not feeling because it's a lot of work, because I got the bigger size version in blends and there are like 80 blends. And it's this one, this beautiful one, Home in the Mountains, that a ton of other stitchers and Flosstubers are doing. That was started for Suki, the Brown-Eyed Stitcher's birthday. But I've always loved this pattern from Golden Kite. So it's going to be beautiful and detailed. But it's a lot of work because in the corner I'm working on, there's a lot of confetti, and so many of them you have to make the blends, and because of the way I like kitted it up and cut my threads, I have to cut them in half and then save some of the blends and use the other ones, and it's just a lot of work. But I'll show you. Okay, actually, let me tell you, I'm at 3,499 stitches. I couldn't just do that one more stitch to get 3,500, and 1.01%. Oh, it's my biggest project that I have, so 1.01% isn't bad. And I do love the way it looks. The details in those trees. And what was I gonna say? I don't know. But it's on 25 count, and I'm doing 2/1 tent stitch. So I think once they get out of the trees, hopefully it'll be less confetti heavy. Some other people are starting in other corners, and the colors look amazing, and there's a little less confetti. So that's good. But tons of blends. So let's see, I wanted to show you too the way I'm kind of organizing the blends. And it's not, I don't know, I'm gonna have to use a lot of these to make it work, but, and I know Suki just showed that you can buy floss drops that are specifically made for blends, which would be super handy, but I don't have that. So I'm using a Paco organizer. It looks very scraggly. But what I'm doing every time I come across a blend where I have leftover threads, I just write the symbol. And I'm using both sides because when I, like I said, I have to cut them in two. So I'll have like maybe one left and then some left over of the one I use. So I'm like, this symbol is on both sides. So I don't like blend them and confuse which thread is what. So it's not going to last very long. I'll have to use, and I only have one of these available, so I'm going to have to make my own others. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right. I think that's all about that one. My plan is to finish out the Q-snap on this before I move to my another of my full coverages for a focus. That's gonna take a while. Okay. Then I had my random project. That is it's another full coverage, but a smaller one. Yeah. And it's a Gecko Rouge kit. She wanted the rainbow, so she put up with the rain. Love, love, love the colors and the art. And Lindy Gaskill is the artist. And now that I'm getting going on it, it's better because there was, again, a lot of confetti in this one at first. But I always have trouble in the beginning starting a project, like when you just have the few like corners, and then once I get past like a few diagonals, then it starts to go faster for me, and then I enjoy it more. So I'm getting there. But I have to say, now I lost my needle. This needle minder that they send you, because I think I bought this needle minder that is like goes with the pattern, but it's not strong at all. Like my needle always falls off. I might have even put it in the fabric. No. So I'll have to find that eventually. Anyway, this is where I'm at. And the colors aren't showing up quite as good as they are in person. But I do love the colors, and you can see the flowers. It took me a while to see the flowers in the beginning, like the yellow flowers here. But now it's getting less confetti because I'm getting more into this blue cloud, and that's just a few colors, so not bad. And on this, I'm doing it on 18 count Aida, and it is 1946 stitches, and it's 6.18%. So it's not going to be huge. So that'll be nice. Okay. Oh, and I'm doing that 2/1 full cross. And the last WIP to show you that I'm sure you all know is my Advent animals that are free patterns from Brooke's books that you can download, all 25. And here I am. I've done since the last time this frog. He is called Fitzwilliam Frog. Number 11. So yeah, sometimes I get a little like tired of doing these like as often as I am, but I mean, they're fun and it is nice to get a completion. So I'm going to continue with it. Ugh. The only thing is like the back stitching is kind of gets loose in some areas, like probably because I use a hoop, but if you can see like this eye, it's one of the threads is like loose. So it looks like he's winking kind of. Yeah, I don't know. How do you guys like fix back stitch that starts to fall out? I just be careful with the placement of my hoop so that I don't like go over a lot of the back stitching or like other specialty stitches. But yeah, then I also did more of the border for the other ones, so that should help the others go a little faster. But yeah, I'm loving how they look all together. Yeah, so cute. Oh, and it's on the called for fabric, Jobelin Babbling Brooke, and it's 28 count, hand dyed. So yeah. Not even halfway there, but we can do it. It's like a marathon. Okay. So, what is next? So I also wanted to do a thank you for somebody who shouted me out on their channel, and that was Stitchin' Big Things, and I'll link her below. And I'm glad she did because I never found her channel. And she, like her name says, stitches big things. Lots of full coverage, which I love watching. So if you guys like seeing that as well, definitely have to check her out. And I've been still behind on watching Flosstube, so I haven't really found many new Flosstubers that I can shout out. I just have to kind of get back into that. But next, I have some Stitchy kindness and one purchase. So yeah, I got amazing Stitchy kindness from one of my viewers, Noelle, and I'll link her. She has an Instagram, so I'll link her Instagram below. And yeah, just I was amazed at what she sent me, because at first she asked me like, oh, do I need any flosses to kit up a project? And actually for Home in the Mountains I had some missing DMC, so I just let her know what those were. But she sent that and so much more. It was amazing. So I'm going to show you that. I don't have the DMC to show you because that's in my project now. So let's get started. So first she sent me this magnetic needle case from DMC, which I've never had before, but that is so handy because I really don't have a place to put my needles, and I need a lot because some of my needle minders aren't great, so I lose my needles a lot. So this is perfect. Oops. Then she sent me these cute little scissors. And I love how sharp these are. They're a lot sharper than my ones that I have now. So this will be great like for frogging and things like that. So I'm excited to use these. I haven't used any of these stuff yet, so until I showed you. So those are super cute. Then she sent me some little fabrics. So a little wrinkled, but this one is Picture This Plus. I love Picture This Plus. In pewter. It's 40 count, which I've never tried before, so I'm excited to try that. So it's good for like little small patterns, which I have, so yeah, excited to use that. I actually have one I think I know I could use on this, so yeah, we'll see. Oh, and it has a little needle that's holding the tag on it. Then another piece of fabric. This one is Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. I haven't used this before. It's Jobelin 28 count Enchanted. Hand dyed. It's beautiful. And then the other side. It's pretty true to color. Maybe a little bit more greens, lighter greens in person. So yeah. This is great because I want to kit up more of the projects I actually have, so it's great to have more fabric in my stash. This one is Witch Alt Hand Dyed Jobelin in Twilight Mist 28 count. I didn't take it out yet, until I probably won't until I have something I probably want to use it on, but it looks like it's mottled gray. And then she sent some perforated paper, 14 count, which I've never used perforated paper before. So I get to try something new. Then she sent me a frame, really cute frame for something neat, small. Glare, but yeah. Okay, now a bunch of patterns and some that are kitted up already. So let me see, maybe I can show these together because they're like a set, like a series, which I love series. Yeah, so this is the whole series of Jack Frost's Tree Farm by Little House Needleworks. I can't talk. And they're so cute. And it reminds me of where I lived in New England because we would go to a Christmas tree farm and pick out our trees when we were younger. So that's part one. And then it's even kitted up with fabric, and there's floss in there too. And it is on, 40 count, so I get to practice that. Pewter. Oh, and it's actually the same, I think, as that other 40 count, so that's handy. And yeah, that's so cute. That's part one. Then part two, and it also has fabric, the same, and part three, sorry, we're in for the glare. Oh, and that also has fabric. Part four. Oh, there we go. Also with fabric. Part five. With fabric. part 6. And part 7, and that's the last part, part 7. And oh, actually, since this one doesn't have fabric, I think the one that was loose is probably for this one. But yeah, so cute. And since it's kitted up, I can maybe start that next holiday season. And then there's this other Christmas one by Satsuma Street called Ring-a-Ding Santa. An ornament. And I do ornaments now every year for my family, so that works. And it looks like it's part of a series, and it has lots of beads. I've never done something like this, so again, something new. And then we're not done. So she sent me 2 patterns from the Hawk Run Hollow series, which I've loved and had on my wish list for a while. I just haven't actually got them yet. But yeah, they're great. So Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. Love that. And also Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. Love it. Autumn is my month, my birthday month. And also, this is just one sampling of the many candies that she sent and goodies. Oh my god, it's amazing. Like, you can't get Reese's that easily here, and I love Reese's. They are my favorite. And she also sent like Carmelo bars and gummy bears, which I also haven't had since I was a kid. So yeah, that was great. So, Noelle, thank you so much for your generous gift. And look out in the mail too, because I don't know how long it's going to take from Norway, but look out for something for me. Okay, the next was something I got from Nana, the Crafty Shield Maiden, who has a channel, I'll link below. And also she has an Etsy shop, but it's been inactive for a while. But she used to sell like things like this. And I got a bunch of floss drops, and I've already used quite a few of them. But they are, I think I got like 80, I don't know. They're the plastic little floss drops that I use to like put away the extra like flosses I had in my stash. And they're so much nicer than these big clunky cardboard ones that I made myself. So this is gonna make it like so much nicer. So lots of those. And then needle minders, which I definitely need in my life. So they're so cute. The first pair, little owl, heart, ooh, glary. And I love this one. Froggy. And those 2 sparkly jewel ones. So I am so happy with these things. I'm sorry, and my back is like hurting sitting on this bed, so I just have to adjust a little bit. Okay, next. Yeah, I think the last thing I have is just something new that I want to do. Let me just grab some water. I guess it's kind of haul. So the backstory is when I was like maybe 7 or 8, I had this book of like collection of stories. And one of them that like stuck with me was this Chinese like folk tale that talked about this woman weaving this tapestry, this big, big tapestry that took like a lifetime or years and years. And that was like the only part I remembered from it. But anyway, that like, I was always like fascinated by that when I read it, even from that young age. I was like, ooh, I want to make a tapestry. But I kind of didn't know that you could do that stuff. I just kind of, you know, forgot about it. And then when I was 12 is when I got my first cross stitch kit stamped one for my grandma, and I was like, oh, this is just like that. So and I think that helped me get into it. And then I don't have that book anymore, but lately, especially as I was stitching on my Queen of Silk so much, I like kept thinking about that and really wanted to find that story again. So I just did some Googling. I had no idea what it was called, but I actually found it. I don't know if it was the exact same version because there's like a lot of different versions out there, but there's a book that I found that I got. This one's called The Weaving of a Dream. There's different titles for it too. This one is by Marilee Heyer, but I think there's another one said by Demi. I don't know who the original author is. But I got the book because, I don't know, it's just like something that got me started in all this, in a way, or thinking about it. And it has like a lot of great illustrations. Let me see if I can find one of the actual, they call it a brocade in this. Yeah, this is part of it. Her hands were bloody. And I think this is what it looked like. So if you think of a supersize Heaven and Earth design, it looks like it was kind of that big. But I also found a PDF version of a different version of this, and it's shorter than this book. So I was like, well, maybe I can do story time and share this story with you all if you want to, if you're interested in sticking around for it, because I know a lot of you would probably appreciate it, especially those who do big projects. So I found this like PDF. It's still a little long. It's like 4 pages like this. So if you don't want to hear it, that's fine. I'll see you next time. But if you do, then there's nothing really to see. So just sit back, enjoy your stitching. I feel kind of weird reading this, like I'm telling stories to kids. I don't know, but anyway, I hope it's interesting. Now this title is called The Wonderful. Okay, I'm sorry. There's a lot of Chinese names in here I'm not going to pronounce right, so I'm sorry. But The Wonderful Chuang Brocade, a Chinese folktale. Okay, so let's go. For thousands of years, the people of China have been famous for the rich art in their silken brocades. Maybe it's Wang. The Wang people of Guangxi province are especially well known for their beautiful designs and pictures. Some of the Wang people tell stories such as this one. In this province, at the foot of high peaks in a thatched cottage, lived an old widow with her 3 sons, Limo, Latui, and Leju. The old mother was a most wonderful weaver of brocades, which merchants and folks bought from her to make vests, bed covers, and blankets. Her sons were woodcutters. One day, the old mother went to sell a fine brocade she had made. In the merchant's shop hung a painting of wondrous beauty. It showed a village with a rich, tall palace with colorful gardens around it. Beautiful flowers and ripe vegetables were everywhere. Ducks, chickens, and cows were all over. Never had she seen a more beautiful scene. Quickly, she sold her brocade and bought the painting, forgetting the rice and other foods she needed. At home, she proudly showed the painting. How happy I would be to live in that palace with its gardens, she said to her sons. That is a dream, Mommy, spoke Limo, the oldest son. Maybe we will live in such a palace in our next life, said Latui, her second son. Then Leju, the youngest, said, Ami, you must weave a brocade, just like the painting, and when you look at your work, you will think you are living in the palace with those gardens. You are right, son, said the old mother, and she set to work at once. Day in, day out, and nights as well, she worked at the wooden loom with silk threads, and the scenes of the painting grew in beauty on the brocade. She never stopped working. Her old eyes hurt from the smoke of the pine oil lamps, but she did not stop. After 1 year, tears filled her eyes, but instead of stopping, she put her tears into the brocade, using them to make a singing river and a shining pond full of fishes. After 2 years, blood drops fell from her eyes onto the brocade. Out of these, she wove bright red flowers and a glowing sun. The old near-blind mother worked for 3 years until she finished putting the painting into the brocade. The sons were so proud of her work. They took it out of their dark hut and put it in front of the door where there was enough daylight to see and admire it. Everyone who saw it exclaimed, "What a wonderful weighing brocade." All of a sudden, a weird whirring wind came along, and whish! It picked up the brocade and carried it high, high up into the sky until the brocade disappeared. The old mother fainted. Everyone shouted, but the brocade was gone. The mother became very ill and no doctor could help her. She was forever crying for her brocade. Seeing this, Limo said, "Mother, stop grieving. I will find your beautiful brocade and bring it back to you. Go, son, and may good fortune go with you." Limo set out over mountains and across rivers. One day he came to a mountain pass, on one side of which stood a stone house. To the right was a stone horse, its mouth wide open, bent over an arbutus bush full of red berries. At the door sat an old white-headed woman. "Who are you and where are you going, young man?" she asked Limo. He told her the tale of his mother's beautiful brocade, how hard and long she had worked at it, and how the wind had carried it away, and how very ill she had become. "Young Limo, I know all this. The winds of the mountains tell me many things. Your brocade is now in the Sun Mountain of the East, with the beautiful fairies who live there. They saw the brocade and sent the wind for it. They are now copying your mother's beautiful work, and you can get it back only with the help of the stone horse. But the horse will help you only if you give him 2 of your teeth to replace the ones he is missing in his mouth, so that he can eat the berries from the arbutus bush. Then he will take you far and wide to the Sun Mountain in the east. On the way you will come to a mountain of leaping flames through which you must pass. You must do it in silence and without fear. If you cry out even once, you will turn into charcoal. Then you will come to a sea full of jagged ice with knife-cutting cold winds tearing at you, but you must not cry out or even shiver with cold. If you do, you will be crushed by the wild tossing ice and buried in the icy water. If you go through these trials, you will get your mother's brocade." Limo was silent. His face turned blue with fear, and he hung his head and thought for a long time. To lose his teeth and endure such terrible trials. The old woman watched him. Then she said, "Son, your face tells your thoughts. It says it is too much. But you tried, so here is a little iron box full of gold nuggets. Go back home and live well." Limo took the box and thanked her and left. But he was thinking hard. "If I go home, I must share the gold with all my family. There will be little left for me. No, I will go to the city and live on my wealth." So he turned his steps toward the big city. The old mother waited and waited, pining for her beautiful brocade. "If only I could see it before I die," she cried continually. Litui, her second son, said, "Mother, I will bring you the brocade," and he set off at once. He too came to the stone house with the old lady and her stone horse, and she told him just what she had told Limo. Litui also thought, and the old woman knew what was in his mind. "Son," she said, "I can tell you think the trials are too much for you, but you started bravely, so here is a little iron box with gold nuggets. Go back and live happily." But Litui thought the same as Limo, so instead of going home, he too turned toward the city. At home, the old mother waited, crying for her handiwork, until her eyes gave out and she became completely blind. Leju, the youngest son, said, "Mother, I will go on the road to find your beautiful brocade and bring it back to you. You will be with kind neighbors who will take care of you while I'm away." He bade her good cheer and left. Like his brothers, he came to the stone house with the stone horse and the old woman. She told him how he could get the brocade only with the help of the horse and of the dangers he must face. Instead of thinking long as his brothers had, Leju gave 2 of his teeth to the horse and mounted it. The horse ate the berries, then went off swift as the wind. Horse and rider went through the burning mountain and the icy sea, but Leju sat firm on the horse, thinking only of helping his mother. And so he reached the Sun Mountain and the palace, where the lovely fairies were busy copying Ami's masterpiece. Leju spoke to them, telling them of his mother's sickness and blindness, and of how she continued to cry for her lost brocade. "We will finish copying your mother's wonderful work by tomorrow morning," said one of the fairies. "Then you can take it back to your Ami." They gave him delicious fruits to eat, and he fell asleep. During the night, the fairies hung a big glowing pearl on the rafter and wove by its light. A fairy in a red dress finished first. She looked at her own work and then at Ami's. She sighed. "I am afraid mine is not nearly as fine. I wish I could live in the beautiful palace that is on her brocade." She began weaving her own image near the fish pond that Ami had woven. Leju slept in the palace of the fairies, but the next morning, before the fairies arose, he took his mother's brocade, mounted the stone horse, and in a wink of time they were back at the stone house, where the white-haired woman sat waiting for him. Leju, your mother is very ill, she said. Hurry back. The sight of her brocade will bring her health. Then she took the 2 teeth from the horse's mouth and put them back into Leju's mouth. Next, she put a pair of magic deerskin shoes on his feet and bade him good luck. The shoes were like wings and took him swiftly to his home, where his mother was laying in bed, thin as a stick and barely alive. Ami, he shouted, I've brought back your brocade. Here. No sooner did she touch it than she began to feel well again. Her eyes opened wide, and once again she could see. She got up and took her beloved work out into the open sunshine, and then a miracle happened. The embroidery on her brocade became a real place. Trees, flowers, all were there before the rich palace, and by the fish pond stood a lovely maiden in a red dress. Leju married the maiden, and the two lived happily all their lives. One day, 2 beggars came to the village. They were Limu and Latui. They had spent all their gold drinking, eating, and making merry in the city, and now they were dressed in rags and begging for food. When they saw the beautiful garden there, where Ami, Leju, and his wife were walking and singing, they quietly slipped away, too ashamed to face their mother and brother. The end. Oh, I'm like out of breath. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the story, if you're still here. And let me know what you think. If you've heard this story before, let me know in the comments. I'd be, curious to know that. Or if you liked it, yeah. So that is all I have for today. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in a couple weeks.